today's plate of history beans, I want to look briefly at horses and one of the most persistent myths of the Old West. In movies and television, and even some fine literary novels, horses are often depicted as tireless beasts capable of spiriting their riders over great distances in a matter of hours, running at great speeds mile after mile, perhaps for days on end. In truth, however, an average horse can't cover much more than 20 miles in a day, perhaps 25 miles if he's young and good condition and won't have to repeat the process the next day. That isn't to say that horses can't be driven beyond their capacity and cover greater distances. There are also horses trained for endurance and other exceptions. The Fédération Équestrienne Internationale, or FEA, has a 4-star ranking system whereby endurance horses can be classified. The lowest ranking, 1 star, designates horses that can travel around 50 to 70 miles in a day. A 4-star, the highest ranking, designates horses that can travel around 100 miles in a day. This is generally indicative of horses that, like a marathon runner, don't run such lengths day after day, but rather only under certain circumstances, mainly for competition. Here in the United States, there are a number of long-distance horse races that take place each year. One of the more notable races is for the Tevis Cup, which takes place in California on what is called the Western States Trail, and just took place on July 20th. The race also includes an award for the horse deemed to be the most fit by a veterinary board called the Hagen Cup. The ride for the Tevis and Hagen Cups, which covers 100 miles, is perhaps more commonly known as the Western States Trail Ride. I'll place a link in today's comments if you're interested in knowing more about the Tevis Cup. Another notable endurance horse competition takes place in Virginia, hosted by a group called the Old Dominion Equestrian Endurance Organization. The group hosts a number of events throughout the year, but the competition, called the Old Dominion, takes place early in June. The race covers about 200 miles over 3 days. I've never attended the race, but the credo of the competition is to finish is to win. I believe there is careful monitoring by veterinary staff to assure the health of the animals. Again, I'll have a link below if you want to know more. In the 19th century, the supreme horsemen weren't whites, but rather the native Plains Indian tribes, probably the most notable, the Comanche. Whereas normal U.S. cavalry or Texas Rangers, by pushing their mounts to their limits, might have been able to travel 50 miles in a day, it's believed that Comanche riders routinely covered as much as 100 miles in a day, then in dire circumstances, switching mounts and traveling with a great herd of horses, travel another 100 miles in the night. The notion that one could cover 200 miles in a single day on a horse would have been astounding to most people during the 19th century. But there's good evidence that Comanche horsemen routinely planned and executed raids 300 or 400 miles from their residences. A ride that would have taken the average white man 10 days to cover, the Comanche might traverse in 3 or 4 days, less than half the time. There are 3 factors that aided the Comanche in this ability to cover great distances. First, while the Comanche did use saddles at times, if they were traveling long distances for raids or warfare, they used pads constructed of buffalo hides and stuffed with animal hair. These pads had 2 advantages. First, they were lighter than saddles. Second, they didn't have a pommel, so warriors could slide off of a horse's back or down onto a horse's side to shield himself behind the animal's neck. Skilled Comanche warriors could fire arrows or rifles beneath a horse's neck, often with great accuracy. The second factor that aided Comanches in their long rides is perhaps less politically correct, but of some importance. Simply put, Comanche men were often of a slight build. They were smaller men. It's common knowledge that jockeys in the sport of horse racing are often smaller men or women. A horse isn't a car. Perhaps that's stating the obvious, but given the way many Western movies portray horses with gigantic white men like John Wayne sitting astride the animals and ostensibly riding for endless days on the trail, one might draw the conclusion horses are senseless things without the physical limitations associated with a biological being. If an animal is carrying less weight, it doesn't have to work as hard. The third factor that aided the Comanche and other Plains Indians is that they rode horses uniquely adapted to their environment. There are several native or American horse breeds. Some of those include paint horses, Appaloosa, Nez Perce, and Nakota horses, Spanish Mustangs, and the quarter horse. Based primarily upon things that I've read and partially my own opinion, this advantage may have been the most important one of all. There are various instances of men who had experience with Plains Indians noting that Apache, Comanche, and other tribal groups had horses that didn't look especially impressive compared to the statuesque horses employed by the U.S. cavalry. However, when it came to the actual moment when a chase ensued, these same scrawny, underfed-looking animals routinely sprinted away from the more impressive European horses, leaving them in the dust. I imagine part of this had to do with the native horses being more attuned to their environment. A horse accustomed to traveling upon a road has problems finding its footing on a prairie where the ground is often strewn with stones and uneven because buffalo grass in its natural state grows in hard clumps, and an animal born to the prairie knows how to run on the prairie. An animal raised to travel upon roads, even poorly maintained roads, is at a disadvantage. There's a good deal more I could say about horses and their role in the Old West, but I'll finish up by saying next time you see a Western movie, try looking at it for just a moment from the horse's point of view. It's kind of comical to see the way horses and consequently the time it takes to get from one place to another on a horse is often portrayed in film and television. I'll add that riding a horse all day for several days is hard work. As one of my characters says in my books, set in the more modern West, I much prefer the pickup. That's it for this week's Plate of History Beans. As always, if you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Like anyone, I suppose, I like to think my modest work is of some importance, and anyone who takes a moment to acknowledge that is greatly appreciated. Now it's time for Chapter 25 of my book, Hunting Charm, A Change of Heart. Chapter 25, A Change of Heart. Damn it, Matt, let's make camp. Brant's neck ached and his lips were cracked from the dry wind. I'm heading for that tree over yonder. That's 2 or 3 miles or more. We won't get over there until after dark. The horses need water, and so do we. Shit, a week ago it wouldn't stop raining. Now it feels like the damn Sahara. The landscape remained green from the spring rains, the ground blanketed with yellow, red, and purple wildflowers. In another week, without more rain, the flowers would be gone, and the only green in a sea of tan would be cholla cactus, yucca, evergreen shrubs, and tiny succulents. They had been riding from first light to dusk for 5 days. Summer had arrived, and by late afternoon Matt had stopped theorizing about the case. They rode in exhausted silence, arriving at the line of deciduous trees as the setting sun colored the skies orange and gray. As they had hoped, the patch of forest harbored a narrow stream. They had reached the geographical point where the rolling central plains gave way to the more thickly forested regions of eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, and northern Louisiana. As they removed their saddles and gears, the horses and mules, damp with sweat, shivered, blowing and drinking heavily from the stream. In the shaded twilight, Brant sparked a lucifer and, with oil purchased from a remote trading post only 2 days earlier, lit a lantern. Before pitching the tents, he completely unloaded both mules and both horses and gave all four a good curry. "We need to give them a few hours to graze tomorrow morning," he said. It annoyed Brant that Matt never seemed interested in the well-being of the animals, though it wasn't a matter to be spoken of. "If we ride on, I think we can get to the Johnson place by tomorrow evening." Matt already had a second lantern going and was seated on a log making notes. "Do what? What's the hurry?" "I think Doreen is still alive." "Matt, there's no conclusive evidence to suggest she's alive or dead. Those bailers said she was buried there at the Johnson place. So if that's true, there's no hurry to look for her grave. According to Cottonmouth, she left the Johnson place headed south. So if that's the case, she's long gone. How can you see to write?" "The light is fine, and Doreen Tarwater isn't dead. Most likely she's in Fort Worth. There's a railroad going in right up that Shawnee Trail. My guess is she would have run into a work crew traveling south. That's no more than a few days' ride from here." "Well, why don't we just go to Fort Worth?" "Well, we're supposed to be tracking Cecil Johnson. Why do I have to keep reminding you of that? You said he was coming in this direction. Remember your vision?" Matt, who usually could be counted on for a pleasant disposition, was in a foul mood. "All right, I'm tired of this shit too, and I think the horses need a rest." "Going to the Johnson place is the logical option. I don't like the idea that we've spent nearly a month on this thing, but I feel your dream, has us on the right track." "So we go to the Johnson place, then on to Fort Worth? Or do we just quit it if we get to the Johnson's place and don't find anything?" "I haven't decided." "We ain't going to see if we can find this Tarwater gal alive?" "Like I said, I'm not sure." Brent slept fitfully and was awake before sunrise. Neck and back aching, he remained on his cot until first light. As he groaned and placed one foot on the ground, Matt, shirtless and in his skivvies, climbed from his bunk and left the tent. Brent followed, and both men spent a few minutes washing in the chilly stream. Brent dressed wet, knowing his things would dry quickly enough. The horses and mules snorted and stamped at the early start. Getting them saddled and packs situated took nearly an hour. They rode until noon, Matt checking his compass and notes from time to time. After lunch, Matt said they would make camp. The animals needed rest. "I said the same thing last night," Brent said. "Why is it when I say something, it never happens until it's your idea?" "I agreed with you. I just thought we could make it to the Johnson place." "What changed your mind?" "I didn't change my mind. We could make it, but you're right. The animals need rest. Plus, we may need them rested some tomorrow." "They would have been better off if we had let them rest this morning, if you'd listened to me in the first place." "Damn it, Hunter, could we just change the subject?" "That's the same thing you always do. Rather than admit I'm right, you say, 'Let's change the subject.'" "I just said you were right." Brent fluttered his lips. It wasn't worth arguing about. They awoke early the next day, still exhausted. Around 10 in the morning they topped a rise and spotted the burned-out remains of the Johnson homestead. Alongside the charred remains stood a line of 15 or 20 mules tethered to a wagon. "You think that's Johnson's doing?" "Did you see any of this here in your dream?" Matt asked. It wasn't like that exactly, but yeah, maybe." "You said you looked at that charm deal and you saw Johnson." He was under a juniper, hidden, scared as hell, and sad like.
Brantley, how could you tell if the man was sad?
It was a dream.
You think that thing might help you find him now?
It's just some beads and soapweed string. It's just symbolic.
Well, can you look at it, or I don't know, look through it or something?
Look through it?
Well, I just thought maybe looking at the thing might help you remember something else. I mean, it looks like it, well, like it worked. I mean, I don't see Johnson, but it seems likely he's nearby.
Brent chuckled, but as he also tugged the circular charm from beneath his shirt, he gazed at it for a moment, admiring the intricate knots and graceful geometric lines. It was at that moment that he saw something from the corner of his eyes. Cecil Johnson appeared on a sturdy-looking mule and dismounted near the wagon. The former buffalo soldier spent a long moment looking at the surrounding countryside. A moment later, he pulled a chair from the back of the wagon and placed it beneath a magnificent hackberry near the burned-out house.
"That's Johnson," Brent said.
"Are you sure?"
"I'm sure."
"I guess you saw him in your dream."
I saw something. I tell you, that's our man."
"Okay, well, you know, Brent, maybe there's hope for you after all."
"What do you mean there's hope?"
"Nothing. I didn't mean anything."
"You obviously meant something. Why would you say there's hope, like there weren't no hope to begin with?"
"I didn't mean to imply. Just shut up and let's go."
"Well, what in the hell did you mean?"
"Shh." Matt placed a finger to his lips. Cecil Johnson was now looking in their direction. They watched as the man, scanning the hills, rose from the chair, then hastily mounted his mule and disappeared into the shadows of the wooded riverside.
"He's seen us. Come on," Brent said, drawing his rifle.
"Hang on.
We need to get down there."
Okay, but let's ride slow. You see how his place is burned out? He's probably scared and like as not to put a bullet through us. Now, let's ride easy without guns bristling every which way."
"I can't even draw my pistol."
"No, but keep a hand close." They rode slowly down a gentle incline leading to a line of trees alongside a shallow stream. "Johnson had himself a nice spot," Matt said.
"That's just like you to notice the damn scenery as we're riding out to get ourselves shot."
"Mr. Johnson!"
Matt called out. "You figure he's gonna come out just because you called him?"
"Mr. Johnson, we need to speak with you regarding the disappearance of Doreen Tarwater. We're not here to hurt you. We just need to find Miss Tarwater."
There was no response. When they reached the wagon, Brent examined the contents: lumber, a cast iron wood stove, a few boxes, clothing, burlap bags of horse fodder and grain.
"Mr. Johnson, if you could just answer a couple of questions."
After a long pause, they heard a voice from somewhere along the river bank.
"Miss Tarwater ain't here no more." "Yes, we know."
Brent scanned the trees and zeroed in on a thicket of oak brush amid the old-growth hardwood. "He's yonder in that brush. I could ride around and flank him."
"Just sit easy. Mr. Johnson, do you know anything about where we might find Miss Tarwater?"
"She left here the first part of August, headed for Fort Worth."
"Mr. Johnson, has anyone in your family been harmed? We noticed your place is burned out."
There was a long moment of silence.
"My wife and my baby were killed. God forgive me, I wasn't at home. The boys said it was a single man, that he was fat."
"That's one of the bailers," Matt said for Brent's benefit.
"Mr. Johnson, I'm sure you know we were hired by Theo Tarwater to find you. I just want you to know that you're in no danger. We don't believe you had a hand in Miss Tarwater's disappearance.
We just need to get this thing cleared up. A lengthy pause turned into 2 minutes of silence. Gradually, Matt and Brent realized Cecil Johnson had nothing more to say. Okay, Hunter, go on around there like you said, Matt said.
We should just let him go, Brent said.
What?
I say we should just let him go.
We can't just let him go.
Why not?
You know why not, Hunter. We're being paid to bring this man in. We have a contract. Now you said you were going to flank him. Go and do it.
We take this man in, he'll be hanged. You're the one who said he had nothing to do with it. Now that I've heard his voice, I'm sure of it.
First off, you're wrong about a couple of things. We don't know for certain that he's innocent. That ain't for us to decide. I ain't gonna argue with you, Brent. We're Johnson's best hope for a fair trial. Other men find him, he'll be hanged, for sure.
Other men may not find him. If we take him in, he may go to trial, but I'll lay money it won't be a fair one.
Are you gonna ride around there and flank him, or do I need to do this myself?
You know damn well Johnson didn't have anything to do with this.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
Hunter, even if I was 100% sure, what difference does it make? If we don't take him in, he'll be a wanted man. In a month's time, there'll be posters hanging in sheriff's offices across 10 states.
Okay, but we need to know what happened to the Tarwater girl before we take him in.
Brantley, we can't spin forever on this thing.
We can't take an innocent man in to hang. If you want to do that, then ride on without me. I reckon I can prop up a saloon rail the same as before.
What the hell is this? We've been riding together for 10 years, and I ain't never had this problem. What the hell, Brent?
Things have changed.
How have things changed? How's getting the job we were hired to do changed? Did it suddenly occur to you to be the savior of the world?
I said that things have changed, Matt. Sometimes you just ignore me, but not this time.
Brent dismounted and walked a few steps away, squatting to the ground, pulling at a tuft of grass.
I started seeing things in a new light. Maybe I've lost my edge.
How could you lose your danged edge? What the hell, Hunter? What does that even mean? Lost your edge?
Maybe I can't cut it anymore. Maybe I'm like that old knife in the drawer that used to cut through a hog belly clean as a whistle, but ain't got no edge to it anymore, and no matter how you grind on it, it don't sharpen up like it used to.
Brent, this ain't the time to get metaphorical on me.
Metaphorical? See what I'm saying? You always turn it into my problem. Old Brent is just metaphorical. Don't I always hold up my end of a deal, huh? Don't I?
Brent, I didn't mean it that way.
Maybe I'll ride on back to Kansas. Ain't nothing stopping me from heading on back and running the farm like my daddy did.
You know you wouldn't last 3 months on that farm.
The hell I wouldn't. This is a real eye-opener. No, truth is I've known about this for a while. You don't respect what I say, Matt.
What is that supposed to mean? Of course I respect you. You're here with me, aren't you? Brent, what the hell is going on? I thought we were a team. I thought I could count on you.
Hunter Brantley paused. The situation had, at one point, seemed perfectly straightforward. They had been hired to track and capture the man that had kidnapped a white woman. Now things felt hopelessly complicated. The thing doesn't sit right with me. Johnson's wife was killed and his home burned. This breaks my heart. Matt, if you're willing to take an innocent man to be hanged, then I don't know where that puts us.
Now it was Matt's turn to consider his partner's words.
Brent was right.
Theo Tarwater, a man accustomed to having his way, would almost certainly execute Johnson, and who would hold Tarwater responsible? Matt looked once again at the burned-out shell of the Johnson ranch, and at the sad collections of belongings in the back of the wagon. Matt's father had been pro-slavery. When the Kansas-Nebraska Act passed and later the Kansas territorial legislature decided not to allow slavery, Matt's father had been furious. Matt had been a boy at the time, but he could still recall his father raging about the matter, arguing that even if a man didn't want to own slaves himself, he shouldn't prevent others from deciding for themselves. Matt had never questioned his father's reasoning, not even when his gut told him that slavery was a travesty, not even during the war between the states when he, like many young men, had been compelled to take sides. Matt hadn't made a choice, though. Instead, he simply avoided the war altogether. Both he and Brent, barely 14 when the war started, were able to avoid conscription because they lived in a part of the nation where the U.S. government hadn't yet taken a firm hold. Matt had never been forced to plant a flag on the slavery issue, and now he realized he was trying to remain on the fence. He hadn't expected this would be the time he was forced to decide. Naturally, he felt treating people of color as lesser human beings was wrong. Not just wrong, but something only a fool would do. The admission, however, meant that he had to accept that his father had been a fool, at least in respect to the issue of slavery. His father, his dear old man, who had worked hard to feed and shelter his family. Matt had loved him dearly, but when it came to the issue of slavery, he had been a stubborn fool. "Brent, we were hired to do a job." Matt knew the words sounded hollow. He didn't believe them himself. "Here's what I'll do. I'll help you take Johnson into custody today if you agree to head on for Fort Worth before we return to Abilene." "Well, what if Doreen ain't there?" "We'll decide then." "Brent, I don't like to talk about this, but Mama and me, before Daddy died, he got us deep in with the bank and money's tight." "I know, Matt, but what about the right thing? I've heard you say more than once that when a man does what's right, things have a way of working out." Matt nodded, thinking about how his father, the man he had just admitted was wrong about slavery, had said that same thing. "You're right, Hunter," Matt said. "But in the meantime, we take Johnson with us. What if he doesn't want to come along? Are we going to keep him hogtied for weeks? And we can't just leave him. We ain't likely to catch up to him a second time." "That's the deal. Take it or I'm leaving and you're on your own." Matt nodded, then let out a gust of air. "Hunter." "Yes, sir." "Do you think a colored man is less of a man than a white man? I mean, my daddy always felt—" "No, Matt, there's no question. Men of color ain't a bit different than any other man. God made us all. When it comes to intelligence and feelings, love for young'uns and family and, well, everything, colored folks are the same as you or me." "My daddy never thought that way." Matt looked at the sky. "Daddy always said colored folks were... He wasn't mean about it, but he didn't think of them as folks exactly. Mama always said he was wrong, but she just let things be. My daddy was raised up with what most call white trash in Alabama. He sharecropped right alongside colored folks. Men are men, rich, poor, brown, or white. Of course, Daddy was bitter about things." Brent pulled his binoculars from his pack. "There he is," Brent said, pointing. "Why is he just sitting there?" "No idea," Brent said. "So it's agreed, right? We take Johnson custody and ride on to Fort Worth." Matt paused, then nodded. He knew Brent was right. The chase ensued, with Johnson at a seeming disadvantage. Despite their toughness, mules can't run as well as a horse. The breed is naturally short-legged and has an awkward cantering gait. Within 5 minutes, Matt and Brant had reached the spot where they had seen Johnson, but, of course, Johnson was gone. They quickly realized why Johnson had chosen the spot to reveal himself. Just beyond the promontory where Johnson had been minutes earlier was a steep-sided ravine. A winding trail snaked down the side of the sharp incline. From their perch atop the hill, they saw Johnson at the bottom of the ravine. "Dang mule went down that trail," Brant said. "You think the horses can get down there?" Matt asked. "Hell no, our ponies are likely to break a leg on that, even if we could get them to step off the edge." "How far do you reckon it is to circle around?" "How do I know? I've never been in these parts." They rode along the ridge, but after searching for a safer way down, they realized that Johnson had baited them. Brant slapped his hat on his leg in disgust. 20 minutes after being outmaneuvered on the hillside, Matt and Brant finally reached the thin creek at the bottom of the steep escarpment. Johnson's trail disappeared into the thickly forested opposing hillside. They had no choice except to begin the tedious business of searching for an occasional hoofprint or broken branch in the brushy undergrowth. "He suckered us," Matt said. "He knew we wouldn't get our ponies down that trail. I didn't see that coming, did you?" "Nope." "If I could just get him to sit down and talk for 5 minutes, I could probably get this whole thing settled. What are you smiling about, Hunter?" "I don't know. Just thinking it's a pretty day." "A pretty day? The fellow we've been tracking for a month gives us the slip, maybe for good, and you're thinking it's a pretty day? What the hell is going on with you? Now think. Which way do you figure he went?" Brant realized that for the second time in a day, Matt had asked his advice. The request seemed sincere, so he thought for a moment. "He ain't gonna leave them mules tied up like that back at that wagon. A man takes the time to raise an animal. He ain't likely to leave a whole string of them hobbled up together to starve or fight among themselves." "I was thinking the same." They wheeled and started back along the hillside, following the trail that wound through the ravine and back to the burned-out ranch house. The horses, worn out from weeks of riding, moved sluggishly in the midday heat. Cicadas chirred noisily, and the scent of sage and wildflowers filled the air. Brant gazed in Matt's direction, examining his friend, the slump of his shoulders, the look of concentration furrowing his brow. Brant knew Matt often slept poorly, puzzling through details related to whatever crime they happened to be investigating. "You look tired," Brant said. "What's that?" "I said you look worn out," Brant repeated. Matt nodded and said, "We don't have time for tired, Hunter.